On a recent cruise, we had a stop in Tortola, British Virgin Islands, and in doing some research, I decided that I wanted to visit the baths at Virgin Gorda. Now, Virgin Gorda is another island within the British Virgin Islands, and you can get to Virgin Gorda by ferry from Tortola. Now, I don't like to normally book my excursions through the cruise line. I'd rather save money and do it on my own, but I discovered that the public ferries don't run on Sundays when we were going to be there. So I paid just over $100 for the Princess Cruise Line excursion, which was probably more than double what I would have paid trying to do it on my own. So we took the 35-minute ferry ride over to Virgin Gorda, and the beach here right at the pier was just beautiful. And then they took us to these little open air cars to make our way over to the baths. The baths at Virgin Gorda are a national park, and you will have an entrance fee of $3, which was included in our cruise excursion, but if you're going on your own, it's something you should know, as well as the cost of the ferry. If you were not going through the cruise line, you'd expect to pay $30 round trip for that ferry. So after about a 20-minute ride in that vehicle, we got to the baths at Virgin Gorda, or the starting point. After giving us a safety briefing, we started a hike down to what is called Devil's Bay. So this hike is pretty long. I wouldn't say it is very strenuous. It's long, it's hot. You just want to make sure that you are going to be comfortable. I would highly recommend that you just wear water shoes so that way your feet are protected. Don't wear flip-flops because you're kind of going to be walking through some rocky areas and you might hurt yourself. I thought it was really cool that there were cacti in the middle of the Caribbean. It was just beautiful. So then you end up at Devil's Bay. Now this is the first stop, and this was after everybody left. We just kind of stayed behind so we could get a nice shot because, well, with all the people on the cruise, this is what it looked like when we first got over there. There were a lot of people in the water, but it was still absolutely stunning to see the beauty. First, we're starting here at Devil's Bay, which is a great beach area. Just hang out for a little while, and then we'll go over to what's called the caves. And I can't wait to see the caves because I've seen some videos and pictures, and it looks incredible. If you swim out into the water, you'll find all these little inlets. So they have rocks that you can climb up into. You saw some people just kind of swimming around them and climbing up the rocks. And of course, this is a great place if you want to get some picture or video. All right, we are finished with the Devil's Bay. Now we are headed to the baths. But I will say that if you are going to come out here for one of these excursions, don't bring too much with you because you have to carry it everywhere. So today we packed lightly. We didn't even bring towels with us. We just brought one big water bottle and a small little backpack just to kind of carry, a few essential things. But don't try to bring too much. So then it was time to make our way over to the caves. And so just walking over there, you see these huge granite boulders, and it's just a really nice sight. And this is why it's special, because of these huge boulders that just kind of form together. Now, because we were with the cruise line excursion, there were a lot of people, and it was kind of a lot of waiting at first just to kind of get all these people through. So you have to bring your patience with you, and this is another reason why I probably would have preferred to do it on my own, try to get out there as early as possible before all the people from the cruise line were to get there. But nonetheless, it was fun to explore, and you have to go kind of slowly anyway because it's kind of difficult. There was quite the line when we were going down the first set of stairs. It was pretty steep, so I guess I understand why. Once we got past it though, the crowd sort of dissipated, and it's pretty incredible down here. Seeing the rock formations was just beautiful, and it's one of those places that if you're just watching it in a video, it just doesn't do it justice, because when you're there and you see the size and the way these boulders just kind of sit on top of each other, it's pretty phenomenal. And this is a natural wonder, so you always just think, how in the world did these things get here? So we were just exploring and taking our time walking through, and then you end up going down where there's some water in here, and it's where it really kind of gets fun. And this is where you are really going to appreciate having those water shoes with you, because it can be slippery, and also you're going to get your feet wet, so it's handy. And you can make some new friends while you're out here as well. Hi, little crab. Although personally, I didn't find climbing these rocks to be very strenuous. If you have mobility issues, this is going to be difficult because clearly it's not stable. The ground is going to be very unstable and you're going to be walking through some crevices. It's going to be a little difficult for you. And remember how I talked about a little while ago that you have to take everything with you. There are no lockers in this area. You have to carry everything. So this is where I really appreciated not taking a lot of things with us, because trying to climb through these rocks and getting through the little crevices would have been very difficult had we had a lot of things with us. The caves themselves are just one way in, one way out, and when you come out on another beach. So here we are. Gonna hang out for a little while and then get back to the ship. This was another great beach area, although not quite as stunning as Devil's Bay was. We still enjoyed the warm water and seeing all the birds flying around. And on this beach you do have amenities. So there are some coconuts for sale, but they also have a snack shack. We did buy a Gatorade for $4, but I thought that was reasonable for being on the beach. Sadly, it was time to head back. So walking back, this path is much easier. So technically you could just take this simple path to go down to that last beach that we went to and call it a day. But if you do that, you won't get to see the baths and you won't get to see Devil's Bay. So if you are able to do the tougher path to get down there, I do recommend you do that. So we headed back onto the ferry. It was a great relaxing time on the ferry because we were just beat by the sun, so we could take a little short nap, and we still had time to explore Tortola and see these cute little shops in the streets and the little restaurants that were just sitting out on the harbor area. We had a great time, but it was time to get back on the ship and head to our next port.